President Trump is out with a new Truth Social today on your decision to run again as a Democrat. And the president is saying, oh, well, next time, no more Mr. Nice Guy.
Attempting to bribe a federal official is a crime. It's a felony, punishable by up to 15 years in prison. And Donald Trump just admitted on Truth Social that that is exactly what he did. At the very least, he was trying to set up a quid pro quo with Henry Cuellar, the criminal Democrat congressman from Texas, the man who was now pardoned by Donald Trump. And now we're learning the same thing I said last week, that this was an attempt to get Cuellar to switch parties, to be a Republican, or at the very least not run for office again. That's what this pardon was intended to set up. And Cuellar announced he's going to run for office again and as a Democrat. And Donald Trump is just announcing his crimes on Truth Social, which he is immune from because the Supreme Court saw fit back in 2024, the summer of 2024. I believe it was on my birthday, I think. No, that was the debate. It was a few days later. The Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump has almost absolute immunity from anything he does while president, while in office. This is 18 U.S. Code, Section 201, bribery of public officials and witnesses. And I just want to let you know, in case you're like, oh, well, maybe the congressman's not actually a public official. The very first lines here are, for the purpose of this section, the term public official means member of Congress, and then they list a bunch of other positions. And that's there's no other way to look at this post from Donald Trump on Truth Social, which I'll share with you right now. And again, you know it's going to be a banger when it looks like this. Which side does it go on? Which side does it go on? Whichever side it's on, the entire post will be here, and we'll highlight the tiny text for you to follow along. Can you imagine, Donald Trump starts it, the Democrats under the crooked Joe Biden administration, who always use extreme force and jail time to destroy their political opponent, wanted to put Congressman Henry Cuellar and his wife Imelda in prison for 15 years, which I predicted these radical left lunatics would do. And they never stopped wanting to fulfill this evil request. The Dems mercilessly went after Henry with, I'm not going to read this entire thing, by the way, just the things the parts that I think are most poignant. And they never stopped wanting to fulfill this evil request. The Democrats mercilessly went after Henry with everything they had. They were looking to destroy him, his lovely wife, and 2 young daughters, and anyone close to them. When the Democrats overwhelmingly lost, 1.4% in the popular vote, Donald Trump, overwhelmingly lost the 2024 presidential election and power with it, they regardless did everything they could to keep going after the Cuellar family. The Dems were vicious at all because Henry strongly wanted correctly border security, all in caps, says the demented grandpa. And then down here, he gives his little flourish of his lies and shit. And then the daughter sent him a letter, blah, blah, blah. After reading it, I decided in the interest of justice, Donald Trump, the 34 felony convicted criminal, he loves justice. Instead of that, in the interest of justice and based on the daughter's loving request, that I would give Henry and Imelda a full and complete pardon. And this is where he admits the crime. Only a short time after signing the pardon, Congressman Henry Cuellar announced that he will be, quote, running for Congress again in the great state of Texas, a state where I received the highest number of votes ever recorded. As a Democrat, he's running. Continuing to work with the same radical left scum that just weeks before wanted him and his wife to spend the rest of their lives in prison, and probably still do. Such a lack of loyalty, he's talking about Henry Cuellar, loyalty for him, the president of the United States who pardoned him. So it is a quid pro quo. If I give you this, you must be loyal, he says. Something that Texas voters, capitalized for some reason, and Henry's daughters will not like. Oh, well, next time, no more Mr. Nice Guy. President Donald J. Trump, all in caps. This is admitting that he wanted something in return for the pardon. This is a crime. This is also setting Henry Cuellar up to commit another felony if he acts in the interest of Donald Trump after receiving the pardon, that's a felony too under the same 18 U.S. Code section 201. If you receive, it's equal to offering the bribe. This is not just quid pro quo, which is the term you're going to be hearing from the mainstream media as a possible quid pro quo. Oh, it seems like it might be. Some people are saying it's a quid pro quo. This is a fucking bribe, is what this is. Donald Trump used the power of the presidency, the power of the office of the presidency, bestowed upon him by the Constitution, by we the people, by we the fucking people, to bribe a sitting congressman so he would not run again, or if he did run again, he would run as a Republican. And crickets from the party of law and order. Henry Cuellar, of course, Henry Cuellar, who I said just last week, he might as well be a Republican the way he votes. He doesn't believe women are smart enough or well-intentioned enough to have bodily autonomy to decide for themselves their reproduction, to decide for themselves about reproductive health care. He doesn't believe that. He does believe in the rounding up of migrant populations in the United States. He is not a good representative of the people of his district. For whatever reason, I guess maybe to avoid being a felon, accepting this bribe, he's going to run again. And where did he talk about this? Yeah, you guessed it, Fox News. He went on with Fox's chief conspiracy theorist, disseminator, and promulgator of conspiracies, Maria Bartiromo, to talk about this. And it gets pretty good.
Have you considered switching parties?
Look, I'm a Democrat. I'm probably one of the most, if not the most, bipartisan Democrat. And as I told some of my Republican friends on the House floor, I vote better than some of the Republicans in the Republican caucus, and they agree with me. I just feel that, I follow the words of President LBJ, where he said many years ago, I'm an American, I'm a Texan, and I'm a Democrat, in that order. And I think anybody that puts party before their country is doing a disservice to their country.
Okay, but President Trump is out with a new Truth Social today on your decision to run again as a Democrat, and the president is saying, oh, well, next time, no more Mr. Nice Guy. He's talking about the fact that you are going to continue to work with the same radical left Democrats. What do you want to say about the president's Truth Social this morning?
Well, again, let me just say this. I was at church this morning with my wife. I prayed for the president. I prayed for his family. And I prayed for the presidency, because if the president succeeds, the country succeeds. And again, as probably the most bipartisan individual, I don't vote party. I vote for what's right for the country. And in fact, when I got that rate by the Biden administration, they did it 40 days before a primary, where the far left had spent we're spending total about $20 million that we know of on that. So they did this right before that. So again, I am a conservative Democrat, but I will work with the president. I've reached out to his administration. I've told them, name the folks, Tom Homan, Christie, other folks that say, hey, can we sit down? I'd love to sit down and see where we can find common ground. I sit on defense appropriations. I sit on homeland appropriations. And if I can work and find common ground, then I certainly want to do that.
If you're gonna do crimes, coming from somebody who's not a criminal and hasn't committed crimes, maybe don't broadcast them to the world on the social media network that you operate, that you own, that you created because you were banned from others after trying to overthrow the United States government. Maybe that. Maybe don't do it for the sake of the people you're trying to bribe. Because, hadn't you done this, Henry could have switched parties. He could have gone along with the bribe, with the quid pro quo. He could have done that. But you broadcast that this is what the intent was. And now if he does it, he's subject to prosecution, as he well should be. So thank you, Donald Trump. I think the chances were probably pretty good that Henry Cuellar, at the very least, would have voted your way a bunch of times, like he's going to anyway, because that's who he is. But you wanted him to switch parties or not run. It's a nightmare of idiocy, of just fumble fucking your crimes and then announcing the fumble fucking of the crimes. Maybe not feeling well, Jesse, is more of a not PG YouTuber. Anyway, what do you think? I welcome you to this conversation. If you're from Texas, if you're from Cuellar's district, I'd love to hear from you. You can comment below this video wherever you're watching it, whether that be Facebook or YouTube. And you can also call the voicemail line and leave me a fewer than 3-minute voicemail, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. We live in a failing nation with a public crime committing criminal at the helm. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another. As your official holiday whisperer, and by the way, that's how I want to be known going forward, do you know what makes the best gifts? Gadgets. Are you shopping for that friend or loved one with the constantly overflowing wallet or the regularly exploding travel bag? Well, I have 2 essential gadgets that will make you look like a hero this holiday season. Extra makes the world's #1 rated wallet, one that is half the size of your old crusty wallet, but large enough for over 12 cards and cash. It fits in there too. Utilizing their signature trigger mechanism, you can access all of the cards in the Extra wallet with one click of a button. Extra also makes the world's #1 rated travel bag. Their travel pack vacuum kit will gain you 60% more space in your travel bag and is both waterproof and odor-proof. And I have to say, it also makes a killer laundry bag by the end of whatever trip you're on. Gift gadgets this year. Gift Extra. During their Cyber Week sale, Extra is offering up to 54% off site-wide, plus an extra 10% off. Just click the link in the description and use code Jesse10 at checkout to save. Extra also offers a Finder card that is in the wallet here, which allows you to track your Extra wallet with Apple's Find My app. Just a single charge will provide power for this card for 6 months. It's also worth noting that your Extra wallet is protected from data theft and wireless skimming thanks to their built-in RFID blocking. And Extra's wallets are made with eco-friendly materials like vegan Italian leather, like this one, and space-grade carbon fiber. Join the more than 1 million satisfied Extra customers and upgrade your wallet and travel game. Take 54% off during Extra Cyber Week sale and then use code Jesse10 to score an additional 10% off. Just think of how many holiday gifts you can save on with that discount. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code right here to save. You have to carry a lot with you when you are on the move. Keep things tight and safe with Extra wallets and bags.